Since the iPhone 11, Apple has used software to lock out replacement batteries from its health monitoring system and aggressively put warning messages and notifications throughout the phone to make it feel as though the phone is faulty. But what if we could circumvent this garbage using something unimaginable for phone repair? A spot welder. I purchased this one for less than $50 and it's designed for just what we need. Included is the mini spot welder itself, holders for several iPhone models, as well as 2 probes for welding and a length of metal strip for making battery packs. This is one of those products you want to come with instructions, so you don't blow something up. Thankfully it did, unlike many Chinese repair tools. For this I'll need a special battery, referred to as a cell or core battery. It comes without the BMS, which is the battery's controller board. That's what we'll transfer and weld on from the original battery, hopefully making the phone think it's the old battery and not throw any warning messages or disable battery health. I'll be using an iPhone 11 for this procedure. I repaired the phone but have kept its original battery, knowing I would attempt this. It's been punctured in several places from the external damage the phone sustained, so it wasn't able to be reused. I'll take it out of the old housing so we can harvest its BMS. It's amazing this phone didn't go up in flames given the several deep gouges in the battery. I'll now need to remove several protective layers covering the BMS, consisting of an outer tape and plastic piece, after which I can unroll and remove the last protective tape covering the PCB. And here it is, the battery management system. Somewhere on here is a chip that houses an encrypted key, which the phone checks on every boot. If missing, the phone software disables the battery health and throws an error. The idea here is to cut this one off and attach it to the new battery cell, therefore tricking the phone into thinking the battery is original. When cutting the BMS board free, be sure not to short the positive and negative battery terminals together, as it will spark. As of the obvious dangers, I don't recommend undertaking this procedure. Proceeding with the control board, I'll remove as much of the old terminals as possible before we weld the new battery in. The new cell is labelled with polarity. It's critical you attach it the same way as the old cell. I also took the opportunity to slightly trim down the tabs as they are a bit too long. Now it's time we fired up the spot welder. For this particular unit, I'll be using automatic mode with the power level set at 3. Before tackling the project at hand, I thought I'd practice on some of the included nickel tab. Cutting 2 small pieces out of the roll, I could test my skills. All you have to do is hold the 2 sticks on the metal where you want the welds, and it automatically does everything within a second. Really easy and strong. I wasn't able to pull my test pieces apart. So it's time to get the battery all welded up. Making sure it's the right way round, I could position the tabs and fold over the top piece before welding it in place. Testing my connections, you can see everything has been secured firmly. Now all we need to do is reassemble the battery and we can test it. Thankfully, the new cell came with all the required adhesive to rebuild the battery and ensure nothing will short out against the housing of the phone. Of course, when performing this swap, you're also transferring the previous battery's health data, so the phone will continue to report the old condition. Using a programmer, you can reset this before installing the battery. However, my battery wasn't being detected. I decided to just try it in the phone anyway, as it might just need a bit of power to get it going. Opening up this iPhone 11, I can disconnect the current battery and loosely attach our modified one. Pressing down the power button, it actually boots. Opening settings, we should now see the non-genuine message vanish and the battery percentage show. At first, I'm getting a message saying the battery needs service, but after the health section loads, it shows a non-genuine battery message? In fact, we lost more functionality with this modified battery. When plugged in, it shows 0% remaining and doesn't charge. The battery percentage has vanished from all corners of the phone, and forcing the battery percentage in settings shows 1%. Obviously, this is not the outcome expected. Removing the battery and testing it with a multimeter, you can see it's supplying power, but it's almost as though the phone can't properly communicate with the BMS. I read up online that you might need to jumpstart it using 3.7 volts. So jumping off another battery, I put voltage into this one. Testing again on the programmer, still nothing shows up. And the phone, well, it displays the same results. My guess is that the BMS is fried, likely from the old punctured battery. It could have shorted it out or damaged it in some way. This technique does actually work if you have a functional BMS. But working or not, we cannot overlook just how stupid this whole process is. No one should have to hack up their old battery and try and weld a new one together just so they can retain full functionality on a phone they purchased. Not only have we proved it doesn't always work, but just one wrong move and things could go up in flames. Batteries can explode when mishandled. So they're not the kind of things you want to be trying to hack together and modify if you can avoid it. While on the topic of Apple's software locks, people have the fallacy that just reprogramming it fixes the issue. Truth is, it doesn't. Take this replacement screen installed on this iPhone 11. I can take the old serial number and ID from the original screen and copy it to the new one. And while that'll fool the phone into restoring True Tone, the warning message will still show up. For anything newer like the iPhone 12, it doesn't work, at least when I last tried it. This is again thanks to an encrypted chip housing some kind of key that communicates with the phone. The only fix is to desolder it and swap the chip to a new screen. Just like the battery, this is another thing you shouldn't have to do just to keep your phone working. So we still didn't fix anything new with this iPhone 11, still defeated by Apple's anti-repair tactics. And with a dead original BMS controller for the battery, the only way to get full functionality back to this phone would be to pay Apple. So I'm just going to have to accept the compromises and finish assembling the phone. With the new adhesive seal installed, I'll attach the display and battery along with their accompanying brackets. After a wipe down with a microfiber cloth to remove any fingerprints, I can use an air blower to blow away any of the remaining dust before removing the plastic protective film from the newly installed adhesive, and then finally we can seal up the display to the housing. And of course, install the two pentalobe screws. So this is it, an unsuccessful attempt at removing Apple's anti-repair messages and locks. I'm sure if I had a phone with a working original battery, the transfer would have worked. But regardless, it's not something I could recommend doing. The best fix is really just to buy something that's not actively trying to make repair as hard as humanly possible. And on that note, this has been a Hugh Jeffreys video. If you like what you saw, consider subscribing and check out the repair tips playlist for more videos just like this one. And if you're looking for any used devices, be sure to check out my online store, link for which is down in the description. That's all for this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.